Well, welcome back to Lorehammer. My name is Erik.
Hey, Erik, I'm Mark.
Thank you for joining us. And today we have a brand new guest on the show.
Hello.
Steve?
Yes, I'm Steve. I've been listening to your podcast for quite a while now, I believe.
Yeah.
Long enough.
Long enough to know,
You know?
the ins and outs.
That's right.
Long enough to hunt us down, find where I lived, and hold us at gunpoint where we're currently sitting.
I thought we weren't going to
help.
share that.
That's why I have my hands below the table.
Everyone else does a hand check.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Steve actually was we've talked a little bit about our Lorehammer library.
Yeah.
A couple times now, and Steve reached out to me. Oh, geez, it must have been a while. No, I remember I failed the first time.
I think it was in December, and I did it on Facebook, and I put it up on a few mediums. I think Reddit, and I was like, oh, these guys, I remember them talking about a library.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you donated, I don't even know how many books to us.
It's too many to count, really.
Yeah.
More than I have fingers.
That's right.
And toes.
Yeah. But yeah, they are waiting to be consumed.
Ooh, yes.
And I'm looking forward to actually going through and making sure I read all of them.
Oh, yeah. Just
He's
like
here now, the guy who gave
Oh,
it.
shit. Yeah, wait, sorry.
Just like the hive mind. Consume all.
But before we actually get into the episode, and today we're doing a listener lore episode.
Nice.
Why don't we talk a little bit? I mean, everyone knows about Mark and I and our depravities of the hobby. But how long have you been in the hobby?
Well, I'm 40 years old, so it's 1996.
Ooh, that's a long time.
Yeah, I was.
25 years, eh?
Yeah, actually, quite. Yeah, 27. How many years?
I don't know, 25.
A
I think was
long, many
quick
years.
math.
Do you want to lift the mic up a little bit?
Yeah, that's a long time to be.
Okay.
Yeah, 25 years. You can do a lot of hobbying.
You can collect a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You'd think I'd have like 14 armies.
You do, right?
Well, I do.
All fully painted.
Right,
Fully
yeah.
painted.
Professional
Beautiful.
standards.
Professional standards.
Yeah.
I've won the golden team in. Oh man, I can't even count.
Too many times to count.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a real
An
hero
accomplished
of
man.
Warhammer. in our
You know what? Sometimes you gotta take those bullets. So
I like that you could just say that you've won Golden Demons, and now it's kind of out there. Like,
yeah.
no
I
one's
can't
gonna,
show
no
anyone.
one's gonna fact check it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Look me up.
I've won a Golden Demon. Actually,
Oh, that's weird. What year did you win it in?
94.
I won it in 94.
Are you what? Really? I'm pretty sure I won the 94 as well.
Oh, interesting.
At my tender age of 3, I won a golden demon.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good because I was 14. So you guys, you've got your skill is.
I relied on my cuteness as a baby to win that competition.
right.
Oh yeah.
Mark
Eric
was-
relied on his touches. I don't
Mark
know
was
how
pretty
you
much
won.
the Gerber baby of Warhammer.
Ooh. The cover. The
That's
cover
right,
baby.
yeah. He had just a Warhammer piece in his mouth, and he's like, oh.
Stuck it in.
like
It came out
this.
perfectly painted.
That's exactly.
I don't
yeah.
like how it's turning me on, this conversation.
Yeah, I don't like that
Let's
either.
move on.
Slanesh is deep in this room.
So, okay, so you've been in the hobby for a long time.
Yeah.
Longer than me.
Yeah.
Longer than Mark.
Quite a few
So
years.
what do you have to show for it? In all seriousness, I'm going back to that.
So what?
What have you
what's
collected?
Your,
That's your
yeah,
passion.
yeah. What have you collected? What's your favorite thing to do in 40K?
My favorite thing to do was Gothic. That was like
Ooh,
my
yeah.
pinnacle. I have Space Marines fleet. I had a Tyranid fleet. I had an Imperial fleet. I was like moments away from buying a Tau fleet from Forge World because the ones from Forge World looked amazing.
You'd include the Manta
The
in
Manta.
that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What was it? They had like the Explorer class, and then they had like the mothership that had the crazy like reverse Star Trek disc
Yeah.
on it, right?
I think they had the Kroot War Sphere too. That
Yep.
was.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing.
And they
pictures
had
of that.
they had the battle platforms, so
Yeah.
you had like stationary objects in space, and I loved that. And so I was like, oh, so close to getting it. And then they discontinued models, and then they were like, oh well, bye Goth.
Yeah. Gone.
Sad.
Gone.
So after Gothic was no longer available to you,
I started collecting the books.
Yeah.
And that was my thing because I was in college. And then I went back into it when I came out of college. I came back to Calgary, and there's a guy that played, and he played 40K. And like I was like, oh, I've always I wanted to get back into it. So I started playing with him, and I did that for about a year, and then he just dropped off. And like this was before any, like they had like he was so big into it that he actually had Forge World models, which you didn't see at all. He had like a Bane blade. He had a shadow
Crazy.
sword.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, you like this is
And,
awesome.
and as a 14-year-old boy, you're like, that price tag, I've never even. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. What would I have to do to get that?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't in college in 14, but that was a little bit past.
Oh, okay, sure.
14 was they had so many cool things back then.
Even in college, though, I don't think a lot of people have money. So
Oh,
it's
God.
still
Well,
like,
not for Forge World.
No, not for Forge World.
Yeah.
And I was living in Lethbridge at the time, so they didn't have any good hobby shops that had good selection. So like I would have to come back here and hit up the Games Workshop and be like, ugh.
Yeah, you pretty much just had to be lucky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely lucky. So yeah, painting's not my thing,
Oh,
but
me too, man.
yeah. You can get there if you want.
I
So you gotta really want it, and that's the tough part.
well, yeah, that's the thing is a couple of models I bought. Like I started building a Dark Blood Angels army, and I was super excited about that. And then the guy just stopped playing, and I was like, I need someone to go. I need to go somewhere. And he was just like, nah, I'm not done with it. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And all my friends were all into like D&D and all sorts of stuff. I was
Okay.
like, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So then I kind of just fell off for a bit, and then I kept on collecting the books because I loved them.
Well,
Goodread's always nice, eh?
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, now that you're effectively done
Yes, collecting books.
with the books, it's only gonna be I don't know. You're
gonna need
getting
some-
recycled.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
well, I would rather recycle and give it to some people that are going to use it. But today, like I've told you earlier, I bought Alfarius and a Contemptor Dreadnought from Forge World. So now I'm that guy that's like, oh, look at this. It's so amazing.
But now you just get to buy one-off models that you just get to own for like your own satisfaction. You know,
Yeah.
It's not like you're like, crap, I really need something on my table capable of putting out large shots. So you're forced to buy
Now
it. You
it's,
just
crap. I really need this.
yeah, exactly,
This
because it
one
looks
guy.
cool.
Well, that's my thing is I do theme armies. I don't like power gaming because I played power gaming with people before, and I don't enjoy that. I don't want to be like, well, I'm salamanders, and the salamanders have 5D rolls on their flamer weapons, and I've got 15 guys with hand flamers, and so might as well just knock all your models over with dice.
Yeah.
Oh, I get to reroll those 5s. Oh, 6, everyone's dead.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard from any one person that the most fun list they ever played was a meta performing list.
Yeah.
So I think all of us are with you on that
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
We prefer the fluff,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, that's what makes this game so good.
Oh yeah.
I agree. Well, another thing that makes this hobby so great
Segue it. Come on, where's he going? What's
is
he gonna
that you
say?
can build stories in the setting yourself.
Yes.
Nothing like a little fanfic. Get the blood
Yeah,
flowing.
Right.
Oh,
So-
I've never really called our listener lawyers fanfics, but when you call it fanfics, it sounds so much worse.
No, it's okay. I'm totally fine with fanfic,
Yeah?
as long as it's not erotic fanfic.
Oh, that's the lie.
Are you saying if Primaris and sister can't get it on?
Look, you know what? Whatever happens in the privacy of your own
The sanctum.
imperial given hut,
Sanctum.
that's up to you and your partner. But yeah, for me, I'm not going to be writing any of that smut.
Oh.
This is as Mark would say, a family-friendly podcast.
It's a family-friendly show, yeah.
Of course.
Fuck.
Makes sense.
And there it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, so today in our listener lore, we have, 3?
Yeah, we got 3. We got some Tyranid stuff. We got some, I think it was like Dark Angel Space Marine stuff.
Nice.
And we got some AdMax stuff, right?
I think it's Necron.
Oh, we took, yeah,
Ooh.
okay, Necron
Yeah.
stuff. Oh, very cool.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're just going to read the story as the person gave it to us. Now, as a little warning before we actually get started, some of it might feel a little bit disjointed. There's internal dialogue, there's external dialogue, there's warning messages that appear, there's unconscious things that happen. So it might feel a little odd to try and follow along with. And again, these are just, we're reading as it was written. And not all of us are professional authors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, but at least
So-
people are writing.
Exactly.
Nothing's worse than one of those people that are like, I'm going to write my lore. I was going to do it this weekend. I'm like, yeah, you were, eh? This weekend you were going to write. Yeah, I was totally going to
Who
write.
did that?
I would never. No, this is a
Divulge?
hypothetical.
Oh,
no,
right.
no, hypothetical.
Oh,
All
hypothetically.
yeah.
Yes.
Christian.
I would never say that. Even now, he's going to think that I said something. I mean,
How will you ever know? Edit that out.
He's got a weird cough right now because of that. He's sneezing. Someone's talking about him.
Yeah, ears are burning.
That's right. Okay, well, let's get right in. Who's taking the first one?
Yeah, I'm going to read the first one.
Okay,
It's gonna be
perfect.
nice. Okay, here we go. Reading voice. Eric gave me a tutoring lesson the other day. He said, remember to read slowly. So here we go.
Yeah, pace yourself.
The Revenge
Great
of the
pacing.
Hive Mind.
Just absorb
The
it all.
Revenge of the Hive Mind. The hive mind of the Tyranids sat pondering, while at the same time ravaging galaxies. One small galaxy pushed into its attention more than others. The inhabitants of it called it the Milky Way. One small group within this tiny galaxy was causing problems than most. They call themselves the Imperium of Man, and their active leader is Name Reboot Gilliman. You're right, Eric. This one's a fun one. His
You're
second in
welcome.
command.
Tongue twister.
Here's the thing I always think about.
Okay.
Is real quick side note.
Yeah.
We have listeners from all around the world. I just imagine this guy wrote this in his second language, and that's
Oh, it might
always
even be
possible.
third or fourth.
yeah.
And that's better than me by far.
And that's the thing. So
Okay.
while there's a couple typos, I'm gonna give it to this guy.
Yes,
anyways.
we might laugh and giggle, but the truth of the matter is, anything is impressive. I want you guys to know that.
Okay. There's a lot of blue squiggly lines and red ones. Okay. His second in command is Marinius Calgar, who personally stopped a previous attempt to consume the Ultimar Segmentum and their personal army. While he was inactive, it caused the Great Devourer endless problems. The destroyed one of the hive fleets that was like a human hand to the hive mind. This force was called the Ultramarines, and they were stronger humans, and in a recent encounter got even stronger. The hive mind believed that it would be well on its way to devouring this galaxy if the Imperium of Man, and more importantly, the Ultramarines were no more. So the hive mind made a plan. It created a gene stealer who was significantly modified. Instead of its primary goal to use the gene stealer cult to hunt Ultramarines, and more specifically the elimination of the individual known as Reboot, the planet that was chosen was on the border of Ultramar. Another recently retaken and absorbed gene stealer cult gave the hive mind information on the recently taken rogue trader going that way. At the same time, nearby, a splinter fleet was putting into hibernation nearby, prepared to reinforce the gene stealer cult that would emerge to defeat the Ultramarines. On the first world this cult inhabited, there was an Imperial bastion. It was first built by the Imperial Guard, but when orcs invaded, the Imperial Guard lost it to the Dark Angels, who came to help. Later on in the Inquisition thought that this bastion was maybe infested with heretic Dark Angels that have turned to chaos, as so they believed. This bastion then became a Grey Knight outpost after they cleansed the bastion of heretic Astartes. Finally, the cult discovered this now secret bastion. They secretly killed those in the bastion by flooding it with poison so that these Silver Space Marines would discover the Gene Stealer cult. Though they weren't Ultramarines, they were still Space Marines, and the Patriarch commanded it. As the infestation of the Gene Stealer cult continued, the hive mind of the Tyranid decided to help supply its minions on their mission to crush the Ultramarines and their Primarch. One of the hive fleets have come across an orc rock and diverted it to the nameless planet of the Gene Stealer cult that has the infestation. Because of the battle, a great Baneblade was called in to help defend the planet, but not a single Ultramarine. But the Brood Brothers were able to steal the Imperium's most deadly type of tank. This orc's infestation also brought an Imperial Knight. When the knight was going for a drink, a couple of Brood Brothers took him down the street in an unsavory area of town, where they brought him to the Magnus under the guise of taking him to a better bar. The cult hackers, with the help of the Imperial Knight's operator force, the new mind changed on the operator to be acceptable. This Freeblade joined the cult and vowed the death of Reboot and his Ultramarines, all as the hive mind has planned. How the cult got the greatest weapons is an interesting story within itself. There was a Brood Brother who got in a command position in the local planetary force. During the orc attack, a Death Strike launcher with assorted weapons of mass destruction was stored at his base. Using his authorization, he had gotten the cult into the facility, and they grabbed the Death Strike and the various missiles it came with. The cult hackers were able to alter the records and even the videotape. They made it look like the orcs did it. The Brood Brothers accepted being executed so the cult can achieve its purpose. The hive mind thought about these things and how it would finally taste McCraig. How it would consume the Ultramarines who had been standing in its way for so long, who were also so easy to predict into a trap. Though some of these things it would learn later, it was pleased with itself in using a Genestealer cult too, and the Hive Fleet to do it what the Hive Fleet couldn't do on its own. Its last thought on the subject before thinking of other things was Ultramar's mine. So Eric, you talked to me earlier about the Oreo sandwich. Give it to me.
Okay, I actually have a couple things.
I do too.
Before we actually get into it, I want to kind of go over the story itself and kind of paint a simpler picture of what's happening. So you have the perspective of the hive mind.
Yeah.
And it had tasted defeat at the hands of the Ultramarines in the Milky Way. And I like that. So one of the good things about this is so this is written by Daniel.
Yeah.
And Daniel it talked about how one hive fleet was like a hand to the hive mind. He really tries to show that the hive mind is an extra galactic presence.
Yeah.
And that what we are experiencing in terms of the hive fleet invasions is actually very small.
Yeah. It's a small part of like a larger organism.
Yeah, and I like that aspect of it. The idea of the hive mind having a kind of a personality and some kind of self-awareness, I'm not entirely certain I subscribe to that.
That being said, it's hard to write, like, you guys even said it before, it's like, how do you write something that is extraterrestrial? How do you write an Eldar? Like, they're so far above what you humanize it as best you can to give it some, I don't know how to describe
to make it relatable.
Yes, exactly.
So you can understand it.
Otherwise, it's like...
Yeah, exactly. So what maybe I don't agree with everything. I do like the gripe against the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
I actually do like that. There are instances of hive fleets seeming to abandon more efficient targets or
ones,
like or things that would offer more resources just because they want to kill and eat a specific thing that maybe offered them resistance or offended them or whatever. So there are examples of that, and I don't mind that he does this.
It does make sense too, though. If you're hive mind and you've been defeated by a particularly strong opponent, you're like, oh, that genetic material, gonna get that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Sure.
you even see value in actually going and hunting it out. So
Yeah.
I do like that. It feels a little like. Do you remember when we did our? It must have been a Black Crusade episode, and it was like, and then this happened, and then this happened. It kind of felt a little bit like that in the middle section where he was talking about like, why would a single Imperial Knight show up? Why would a single Baneblade show up? Why would the hive mind use an Orc Rock? You know, like I understand that I think this guy is trying to show that the hive mind is using. It's like the whole everyone else is playing checkers, but this person's playing chess.
Yeah,
Sure.
You know, like maybe the hive mind is showing how crazy smart it is by using all these other things.
Yeah,
but
pulling the strings.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Being like some kind of puppet master or whatever.
I also thought maybe he was trying to get, the way I saw it too was like it was an attempt to show the hive mind's ability to like multitask. It was like, because like you would think if someone was doing it, would just be like, okay, so I've got to do this and then this and then this and then this. But he's like, the hive mind's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this all at the same time. So that was why I felt it was like he was doing it in short little snippets to be like, to show a passage of time. For the hive mind is nothing. So that's why he was like, bam, 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 bam,
Sure.
bam.
That's
all
good
that
perspective
information.
to gain for sure. Because the hive mind is definitely operating on a level that we can't even begin to like play its long game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it might as well be playing the great game in how complex it is and everything that it's doing. But so I like the size of the hive mind. I liked its more extragalactic perspective. I don't like how it's more of like a singular entity in this. It feels like it has a personality that you could, and a character that you could like define and categorize.
Yeah.
And it's in
but that's
one,
just, I
one
think,
spot.
Yeah, I think that's
type
more of a
thing.
personal preference for me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, in all honesty, too, they never define what the hive mind is.
Yeah, so
it's not like
it's true. That's very true. The crazy thing was, so there are. Okay, clarify for me this. Did they poison Space Marines?
I wasn't sure on that point. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah, they poisoned a
space-
bunch of Grey Knights.
So not only are Space Marines immune to poison,
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, you're wrong.
right? But
This is that
I read
conversation.
somewhere once.
I mean, yeah.
I read somewhere once.
So yeah, Space Marines are, for the most part, immune to poisons. I would love if you had put in there that they used a very specifically genetically modified poison. And
I will say this. Nerding. So me being the book whore that I was. There is the very first Dark Angels book.
Yeah.
They use what's it, Cypher
Yeah.
poisons this outpost on this one planet, but it fills it with the Death Eater virus.
Okay, yeah.
And so what happens is they trick them into going back to this place.
Yeah.
And these guys go in and they lock the door behind them and blow the panel up. And so they can't get out. But then they're like, if we open this, we're going to kill everyone on this planet. And so maybe that was Death Eater?
It's I know there are some viruses out there that can affect Space Marines, especially ones that are warp-born.
Yeah.
They have like a way higher infection rate.
Sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
But-
that could happen. But
Of
whatever.
course, it could happen.
Now you're just nitpicking.
Yeah.
I
if and
am,
buts.
and I'm gonna nitpick an Imperial Knight as well.
Don't you dare, because that's the best part about the story.
The fact that this Imperial Knight gets
Drunk?
taken in by a coven and then gets mind wiped to become a Freeblade and join with Imperial cultists?
No, I just like that there is a knight.
Ah, right. You just like
Yeah.
the presence of knights.
Not even really there, just mentioned side
Yeah.
note. There's a note over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Someone, it's just a buzzword.
Yeah, it was really written for me. This story.
I was going to say that because you do love your knights.
It's very tailored
Yeah.
for me.
But overall, I like this kind of perspective that you get. It feels very from the perspective of the Tyranids, which is cool because it doesn't feel like a human wrote this battle like log or anything. It literally felt like the hive mind is keeping track of everything that's happening and moving pieces that no one else was thinking of. So I did like that.
Yeah. It should have been written as a Tyranid. Just clicks and clacks across the screen. Just like that one you were saying, oh, we should do one for like the Mechanicum where it's just zeros and ones across each 001, 01, 001.
Do an entire episode in binary.
Oh.
What do you think, Mark?
I honestly don't know what to make of that whole situation. Thank you for sending it in. I don't know. Good on you, man. Who knows? I don't know.
I like
Keep
the-
writing is all I can say.
I like the mention of the
honestly.
Baneblade. I think that's cool, but I also think that I think you might be missing some perspective there. They're not going to send just a single Baneblade at someone. They're going to send a Baneblade surrounded by Leman Russes, which are surrounded by even more guardsmen.
Meat shields.
Right, exactly. So I think that you can... And it definitely feels like, because they constantly talk about how no Ultramarines kept showing up.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the Hive Mind was trying to bait Ultramarines, and the whole purpose was to try and fight them, which I again, liked. I like that continuous, like, I want to fight Ultramarines specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can... I think it was cool. It's a cool idea.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I will say the last part. I kind of enjoyed the last part because in my mind, I'm playing it out in my mind as like that like omniscient view of the galaxy, and like you see the hive mind, it pulls back from like the one planet, kind of pulls back out into like the, I don't know, the hive mind sitting,
between. The void.
yeah, the void between while he's sitting in his chair and
In front of
like,
a fire.
yeah, in front of a fire, and it just kind of fades away, and it just kind of is like Ultramar is mine. And so, I enjoyed that. That was kind of a neat ending. I enjoyed that.
It was pretty. It had some nice cinematic and thematic tones to it, I think. Yeah.
I think if you fleshed it out, where he added a little bit more about the Gene Stealer cults and how they got around to things, I think that then it would make this better, because he could have talked about how, the Baneblade was redirected and like got there by itself accidentally because of like the hive mind used a warp storm or used like the thing to send the other fleets into different directions. I mean that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you want to have just the Baneblade by itself, show some kind of manipulation of like show the hive mind manipulating things so a single Baneblade shows up, because that's weird.
Yeah, the Gene Stealer cult that's infiltrated the Imperium, the Imminent Stratum was like, oh well, hey, I need you to send this one. The guy's like, okay, and he just randomly sends like the wrong.
Show how much this gene stealer cult is actually infiltrating everything to like achieve your purposes. I think that could be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else then?
That's all I got from this side of the table.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he like it says he created different gene stealers that was slightly modified and told how they're slightly different.
Yeah, like what's actually different.
Yeah,
about
like
these gene
I wonder
stealers.
what makes it. Yeah, are they really good at killing Space Marines because they have extra tough diamond claws? I would like to hear little details why. It seems like there's just a splattering ideas with no actual follow up to any of them. But
I think there's a lot of threads that could really come together.
Yeah.
but
in this.
that's the way she is.
You got good bones. You got good
Yeah, I was
bones.
gonna say there's good bones, not a lot of meat on them all.
Yeah, Rogue Trader showed up once, and then you never hear about it again.
Yeah,
and
like
you don't understand the consequences of why this Rogue Trader was here. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Anywho,
you got good bones.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to read the next one?
I think I will. I think I can grab this one. Let's see
Okay.
how badly I can butcher it.
So this is written to us by Magnus the Red. Was that the artist? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
ooh.
that was the email. So
Oh my goodness. I don't know. This
Magnus
is
himself.
Magnus himself.
Yeah.
the great manipulator. I love it. Okay, let's see. Magnus the Red. In the far reaches of the Imperial space on a dusty abandoned planet called Caliga?
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 Caliga 4. A lone fortress stands. This is the home of the Hunt Vigilant A Dark Angel Successor chapter. The Hunt Vigilantes?
So the chapter is called The Hunt Vigilant?
The Hunt Vigilant? Okay.
Yeah.
Chose this secluded planet to hide their dark and mysterious rituals. They rarely communicated with the wide Imperium and preferred to keep to themselves until they were called upon in times of dire need. They even go as far as to only communicate with their parent chapter and other unforgiven in the large battles or when following the trials of the fallen angels. I was just going to say fallen. I love that. Just saying the fallen. Due to the secret nature of the chapter, the general public knew little of them. This leads to the Inquisition and the Inquisitor. This leads to the Inquisitor and the Inquisition to view them with mild suspicion. The planet Kalhar 4. I
like it.
I will butcher it constantly, so I'm sorry. The planet Kalhar 4 is an arid, desolate desert. The single yellow sun beats down upon the red, cracked planet. Ancient ruins of an unknown civilization dot the landscape, and the tips of ancient statues poke out of the sand. Most of the chapter's organization operates underground to avoid the giant worms and sandstorms that plague the surface above. The chapter specializes in a wide array of combat, although they prefer to attack from long range and then swoop in to decimate the survivors. As their home planet is uninhabited, the Hunt Vigilant send recruiting parties out to the stars looking for suitable humans to recruit. The Hunter Vigilant have silver armor with their left arm colored in a green of their parent chapter. Colored markings on the helmet indicate rank, with sergeants having green stripes, lieutenants having red stripes over a green stripe. Veterans have a red stripe, and the honor guard have a red helmet. The first company and chapter master wear green painted armor, signaling their induction into the chapter's secret order. The Hunters Vigilant have very little non-augmented human presence in their monastery. Instead of a small human population performing menial tasks, they prefer to use modified Legio Cybernetica robots instead. The chapter distrust of outsiders comes from the campaign upon a hive world, where the population had been corrupted by chaos. While pacifying the population, the Imperial Guard garrison helped the chapter denounce. The garrison guard helping the chapter denounce the Emperor and turned the chapter, killing almost all of the 5th Company.
That's a loss.
Yeah, that's a big loss. This resulted in the Hunters Vigilant destroying almost all the Imperial Guards that had turned to chaos and leaving in a furious rage. I'm pretty sure I would have killed all the guard. Yeah. I'd be like, Oh.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm
like
sorry.
it.
Right before we actually
Yeah.
get into it, I want to share a couple things.
Okay.
Green
Green.
with red
Yeah.
and green, and some more red. So to me, it's gray.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
When they don't
nice for you.
let it dry, it goes gray.
Yeah, I'm red-green, colorblind.
Oh, okay.
So I just had this picture of this guy. He's like, yeah, they have a green stripe and then a red stripe on top and then a green stripe on top of that. And I'm like, so they have a single color of gray on their armor. Great.
I think he wrote this to hurt you. I think he did.
He knew. He was like, spite him.
Sad. Honestly, there's some like really cool one-liners in this.
There's
and
a lot.
It's one of the things that I think a lot of people try and like they miss. They miss how great a single one-liner can be. And everyone tries to expand on something when you don't necessarily have to. And I'm going to go to one specific one.
See if it was the same one that I picked out.
So one of the best things I like about it is the chapter specializes in a wide array of combat, although they prefer to attack from long range and then swoop in to decimate survivors. That's awesome.
That is exactly the point that I saw. I was like, I love the fact that he goes out to, like, we can do it all, but this is what we specialize in.
Yeah.
And then may I build upon that? The way I see it is like, as part of their, like, they stay below ground to stay away from the worms. But then I was like, I can just see them right now. They're on land speeders, and I could see a dude just like hanging off the side, and like they're hunting them too. Like,
well, why not? You got to stay sharp.
Yeah,
right.
But like fast and swooping. Like, so you got like a, I don't know, Layman Russ, and he fires at her like some kind of big, and then you have your like scouts learning how to like this sub move fast.
Yeah.
Fast and furious. Boom. Not like that. Don't paint your cars funny. But I saw that too, and I thought,
yeah,
that makes it awesome.
I think that too many people try, like, you could have that line and then describe, these are all the vehicles that we use. This is exactly how we perform our tactics. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, sometimes I even enjoy reading that more.
Yeah.
But there's something really nice about a little tidbit that forces me to, like, use my imagination with it. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing about the game is like you have these people that write these little tidbits, and you're like, oh, you can expand on it. Yeah. Maybe they don't. Maybe because of the sand, they can't use the speeders, so they have to use like the new Outrider trikes or the new quads that they have for space. But that's a cool thing, right? Like if
quads
you go,
on quads,
quads on quads,
yeah. Or like the Baby Bjorn Space Marine.
That's right.
Like, you know,
yeah. What was something you liked about it, Mark?
Yeah, I like the planet. I like that arid, desolate land with worms and stuff. And then I like that line you guys were talking about too. But I get this like image of like vultures and stuff.
Okay.
I always
especially over a desert.
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
And they swoop in. Like I always get Space Marine fetishes. So like, yeah.
Sorry, you.
I like Space Marines that have fetishes for things.
I'm gonna clarify. Do you mean like the physical fetish, like something you carry on your person, or like a sexual?
Maybe both. I'm not here to say
fetish
what they do,
fetish.
but I know
yes.
Space Wolves have a couple fetishes, both material and sexual.
Again, I'm gonna need some clarification.
They like beards.
No, but like
you mean like talismans and tokens?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just for people who maybe haven't heard that word fetish.
I like to call it maybe Space Marine accoutrement.
Yeah.
Some paraphernalia.
Yes. Yes.
But no, so you have this image of them.
Yeah, like with their tactic, like the swooping in, they like wait till they're not gonna go in until they've already fucking blasted or somebody else has already dealt with it, and they swoop in and kind of
pick up like the scragglers, just like how vultures go for carrion, right?
Yeah.
So there's, I think I like so even if there was I'm word vomiting here. Okay, I got it out. So you have like those people, like the vulture aspect of it.
Yeah.
But then I imagine like the serpent aspect of it, like strike like a serpent.
Yeah.
So they carry maybe like old snake skins that they found in the desert or whatever, and they act differently. So I think like I love, obviously, the more customization that you do, the better. So
I just like I think you could come up with like really cool culture for this planet. I'd like to see more about it.
Let's talk about the fact that it is a Dark Angel successor, first of all. There's a couple lines in here that I don't have problems with, but I have some trouble. So maybe you guys can help me.
Okay.
One of them is, due to the secret nature of the chapter, the general public knows little of them.
Yeah.
This leads to Inquisitors and the Inquisition to view them with mild suspicion.
Just mild. You know.
Yeah. So the Dark Angels, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, are just automatically viewed with great suspicion.
Those guys wear a lot of robes. Robes.
What are they hiding under those robes, you know?
Secrets, probably.
The whole secret chapter, to me, I like it, but and I know this is just me, and it's just me being a fanboy, I only like it with the Grey Knights. Almost anyone else trying to hide complete like knowledge of their chapter, I don't understand. It doesn't do it for me, you know?
I would see a danger in that in this universe, because you'd be like, oh well, who are those silver guys with green or gray? But like,
for me they are gray.
yeah, but like you would see them, it's like,
That's why you like Grey Knights.
Blood Angels show up, and they're like, I know they don't interact with a lot of other Space Marine chapters, but like you'd see them at random, like, are you good?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, what happens when a kill team, like a little advanced team of these Hunt Vigilant, show up on a planet and there's like a Space Wolves company already there, and they run into each other. And the Space Wolves are like, well, I've never fucking heard of you.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I swear we're loyalists. And
We're
they're
totally
like,
cool.
Are you though? Because I can't find records of you in here. So maybe you're a chaos thing. So I think people can...
No, bro, no spikes. Look.
I think you need to engage a little more of what it actually means to hide who you are. Because if you truly want to hide, then you need to be hidden.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you need to never engage anything unless it's secret and you know you're going to be able to hide your secret. You know, you could never engage with a Space Wolves company because they'll literally be like, let's see it. You know, like, where's your proof that you're actually like a loyalist, right? So same with Imperial Fist or Black Templar.
Oh, God,
like,
yeah.
show me that you're like righteous and pure. And...
The first sector they see, and you're all dead.
Exactly, right? So it's not that I don't like it. I just know it doesn't do it for me. So that's my single thing so far.
That is your cream?
okay.
That's
The
my
Oreo?
cream. That's my
Okay.
cream in the Oreo.
Yeah,
Cream's the good part, though. This is all weird. This
You're wrong, man.
You're wrong, Mark.
Yeah.
it's a sandwich of some sort. I like everything. The other thing, the fact that they like things with Space Marines, I find is like they never do anything like half-assed. So the fact that they're like
They put their full ass.
they
on
put
it.
the both cheeks in.
Yeah.
The fact that they killed like some of the every other than maybe the Space Wolves when they went to Armageddon and like the Grey Knights were going to kill off all the guardsmen.
Yeah.
Most of the other Space Marines wouldn't care except for maybe the Salamanders, right? Like
I agree with you on that one. I think that people don't. I think Space Marines are much more bloodthirsty in how they like deal with what are true problems, especially chaos.
yeah.
Right.
They're very like, no, we don't. We're
don't
not.
mess around.
Yeah, exactly. Like
They
we're not
drop
even going to
drop
risk
pods
it.
into hive cities, you know.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about anything.
destroying so much.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
like-
even people, they have no care for collateral damage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's so many stories about that where it's just like a Space Marine. They're like one of the 30K books. The only person ever cares about any person was Vulcan. Like that's the only time that you ever see anything where they go out of their way to make sure someone is safe.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like
Or to like, let's look at where I'm firing because there might be a human behind it. Or
well,
Minor details.
yeah. But that's the thing. But other than that, like it was,
I agree. I definitely think a Space Marine purge could fit really nice in here, especially because they like to keep their chapters secret.
yeah.
Right? Like, what are you going to do when all of a sudden that regiment gets back and be like, hey, our a little bit of us killed some Space Marines and then they killed us, but we actually have no idea who that chapter was.
They just kind of showed up and helped and then killed it.
But here's what they look like. So,
FYI.
Yeah. That's nice.
I like the simplistic view of the markings. It's very clear. You could probably paint one of these yourself,
Sure.
which is really neat.
Yeah.
They're very recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say,
I would love to see some models.
yeah.
I say that
We're gonna
probably...
mention the Legio Cybernetica that he has.
Oh my
That-
god, how did
Yeah.
that skip me? Okay.
Yeah, so instead of the small human population performing menial tasks, they prefer to use modified Legio Cybernetica robots. Yeah, so they really don't like outsiders.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the Black Templars. They have like their failed initiates. They turn them into. I don't 100% remember. Like this is off the top of my head, but I remember some of their recruits get turned into Cybernetica like slaves. Like
Oh, yeah.
So that's actually, I think that's pretty common across most
Yeah.
chapters, is that, especially because at the very least they're indoctrinated into the chapter rituals itself.
Yeah.
So it helps when your serf, is just a failed Space Marine.
Yeah, that would suck to be that person.
Oh,
you're gonna come and be a Space Marine with us. Yes. Go to that room over there and get lobotomized. Is that how it happens? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
If you remember.
The Legio Cybernetica. So that definitely tells me, though, that they have a good relation with the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Sure, they must. They'd have to.
Yeah, so whether that means they have like a high presence of tech marines and they get trained a lot, or whether there's, a forge world actually close by and there's just tech priests that are with them. Yeah. Because it does say they like very little non-augmented human presence. So that means augmented humans are okay.
Yeah.
So maybe they're okay with a couple tech priests.
Cool with the Iron Hands. They're like, hey.
Yeah.
You bros.
Yeah.
I like it.
Exactly. Yeah. The Hunt Vigilant.
The Hunt Vigilant.
Yeah. Sorry for brutalizing your name. It's just
that's life.
Don't apologize.
We don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Rule 1 of Lorehammer. We don't apologize.
No.
Or you don't apologize. I'm a guest.
But other than that, I like it.
Yeah. There's some stuff there. It's quick. It's easy, and it gives you the information you want to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
I agree. Okay. Anything else before we move on?
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. And so we come to the final...
Wait a minute.
Story.
So this story's by Erik. It is a Necron story. I could have sworn I had a different story here.
Isn't that funny?
Suspicious Aloysius, I am.
Yeah. I will say this is not me. I did not write this.
Oh.
It's a different Erik.
Why are you winking?
I didn't write it.
Both eyes.
That's blinking.
Are you having a stroke?
It actually isn't my story. So it's written by Erik, and it's definitely about Necron. Here we go. Warning. It is time to awaken Overlord. Warning. You are running out of time. Warning. They are coming, and they are angry. Warning. I have released the stasis pods and begin to awaken your subjects. Reinforcements are on their way, but you must rise, Overlord. Lead your people, or all will be lost. Raisin feels around as the beginning shapes form as his vision comes online. First, the chamber surrounding him that has been keeping him safe since the beginning of the Great Sleep, then the corridor beyond. As he reaches his metallic hand out, his pod opens with a loud hiss, followed by the alarm's constant warning. How long has it been, my king? Silence. My king? Small clicks against metal begin to get closer and louder as small insect-like robots swarm down the hall and onto the pods surrounding Raisins. Each bug clicks into the pod like a key, and one by one the pods begin to power on and glow an emerald green. The air is filled with hisses as each pod opens, awakening another metallic skeleton after another, as Raisin pulls himself out of his stasis pod. Overlord Raisin, is it time? Has the Great Sleep finally ended? Raisin turns to see his best friend and closest ally emerge from the pod next to him. I believe so, Lord Karam, but with the sound of things we aren't out of trouble yet. Awaken the warriors and get them battle ready. Then meet me in the Pharaon's chambers. Karam bows his head slightly in acknowledgement and heads down the corridor, weaving in between scarabs, looking for their corresponding stasis pod to unlock. Slowly awakening Necron troops and winding corridors, Raisin finds himself before a large, intricate golden door with 3 wide claw marks carved into it. Brushing his hand down the sigil inlaid on the door, it sputters with glowing green energy 2 times before finally roaring to life and slides open, revealing a room filled with ornate weapons, armors of different styles and colors, riches that one could only dream of obtaining. A row of 5 stasis pods against one wall, their inhabitants' heads ripped apart without the pods having any indication of damage, and a single golden stasis pod in the center, shattered to pieces. Raisin races to the pods and discovers the crumpled remains of his leader at the bottom of the pod, body ripped to shreds and covered in a slickly green bile that is slowly sizzling and eating away at the Pharaon's body.
Must be orcs.
Oh.
What could have done? A voice booms through Raisin's head. What are you? Not food? No, your bodies do not feed my brethren, yet you walk around like food. A loud screeching rings through Raisin's head, forcing him to one knee, clutching his head from the severe pain. A red blur flashes into vision as he is thrown backwards into the opposite wall. Raisin stares in utter disbelief at the creature that is slowly materializing in front of him. There before him stands a large, multi-spined, reptilian creature with giant mantis-like claws, barbed flesh hooks, and the same green bile dripping from its razor-sharp teeth. Fumbling around, Raisin grabs at anything that looks like it would help until his hands grasp a long, dark blue and black cloak. In the same moment, the creature rears back and slashes out just as Raisin blinks out of existence. Raisin looks around the space he is in with astonishment. Everything around him is swimming in blues and purples, crimson reds and hunter greens. He is no longer in the Pharaon's chambers, but some sort of long corridor of constant swirling dark colors. Holding the cloak in his hands, he notices there is a faint green glow to the garment. "That is a very special item you have there, Overlord, or should I say, Pharaon." "My king, what is going on? What is this item? What was that thing that attacked us? Where am I?" "There is little time. Your people are still in great danger, even as we speak. You are in a pocket void created by the artifact in your hand. It is called the Veil of Darkness. Ooh. It allows you to travel to a pocket void and then take you to another location nearby when you wish. The creature is known as a lictor of the Tyranid race, and he is but a scout compared to the swarm on its way to your planet now. Place the cloak upon your shoulders and will yourself to your troops. They need you now more than ever." "My king, where are you?" Silence. "I see why they call you the Silent King." Raisin drapes the cloak over his shoulders and clasps it in place, looking around one more time at all the colors. He closes his eyes and blinks back into reality. The room surrounding him is filled with different type of Necron soldiers, from basic warriors with their standard rifles to sleek and stealthy deathmarks with their sniper rifles, immortals with their destructive Tesla carbines, to the Lich Guard with their hyperphase swords and dispersion shields. Raisin looks out at his slowly reawakening army and feels a twinge of pride in his cold robotic frame. With his appearance, all the soldiers take momentary aim, before all arms come to rest at their sides, and each Necron throughout the room takes a knee in the presence of the new Pharaon. "They are ready for your command. Now, all you need is your weapon." Karam walks up to Raisin carrying a long black and red scythe pulsing with green energy. As Raisin takes the scythe, his whole body glows with a green hue. Karam pulls out a small orb with green power swirling through it and hands it to Raisin. "The Void Scythe and the Resurrection Orb." Karam turns to the rest of the troops. "The final pieces needed to solidify our new Pharaon, Raisin the Voidwalker, as Pharaon of the Inaros dynasty." Raisin raises the scythe above his head as the room fills with cheer, then brings the end down onto the floor with a commanding clank. "We do not have time to stand on ceremony. We have been awoken as we are under siege. Our tomb world has been invaded by creatures of immense power and ferocity. Reinforcements are on their way, but we must hold out until they get here. Now go. If it is not Necron, destroy it." With a resounding cry, the troops rush from the room. Moments later, the sound of battle erupts. Karam stands next to Raisin with an ornate staff that glows a light green hue at the head of the blade. "What will you have me do, Pharaon?" "Join the troops. If they fall, get them back up. But keep yourself safe as well. We aren't here for heroics. If what I faced earlier was just a scout for them, I hope reinforcements get here soon." Karam nods and races for the door after the troops. A team of 5 Lich Guards stand against the wall, just staring at Raisin, sword and shield at the ready. "You all come with me. Do you have guns, or just your shields?" The Lich Guards slam their swords into their shields in unison. "All right, come to me, and be ready for anything." The Lich Guard pile in around Raisin as he closes his eyes. One moment they are in the room, the next they are standing on top of a monolith, overlooking the battle raging below. A sea of glowing green Necrons firing in every direction against creatures of all different shapes and sizes, some the size of a Necron, some the size of buildings. Out of the corner of Raisin's eye, he sees the first Lich Guard fall, then another. A third is thrown from the roof as he turns to see the last 2 are already dead at the hands of the lictor, as it stares at him and lets out a deep hiss. "You got away once. That will not happen again." The lictor lunges at Raisin with amazing speed, but the void scythe is already there to stop the blow. Pushing the lictor off, Raisin swings with the scythe with such ease that it almost feels weightless. Each slash of the lictor's claws is met with a block from the scythe, and another deep gash through its torso. Spinning the scythe in his hand, Raisin attempts to finish the lictor off, just as its claw slaps the scythe from his hand, throwing it across the monolith, sliding right before the edge. Raisin looks from the scythe to the lictor and back. The lictor lunges for Raisin as he ducks under and rolls toward the scythe. Grabbing it, he turns just in time to see the lictor jumping at him again, and with quick thinking, Raisin blinks from existence, causing the lictor to fly off the monolith and head for the ground below. Raisin reappears right behind the lictor as they are both falling straight for the planet below. Swinging the scythe, he embeds the blade through the skull of the lictor just as they hit solid ground, killing the lictor instantly and snapping Raisin's legs as he rolls off his freshly killed enemy. Nursing his leg, he quickly surveys around him for potential threats, and not seeing anything too imminent, he focuses on his leg until a glow washes over, and slowly his leg comes back together and repairs itself. Raisin uses the scythe to stand up, and in one quick movement cleaves the head from the small reptilian creature with razor-sharp talons that had jumped at him. The ground shakes as two planes rush by and drop bombs across the battlefield, blowing up Necron and Tyranid forces alike. Some Necrons rebuild themselves and get right back into the fight. Those too damaged to continue just become obstacles for their brethren to climb over, while the Tyranids lie in pools of their own blood and gore. Dozens of crescent moon-shaped ships appear overhead, the beautiful reds and golds shining like a beacon of saving light, some destroying everything in their wake with large mounted cannons on the undercarriage, others hovering over strategic locations, dropping troops out of the bottom of self-contained portals. It was the Sotek dynasty, and reinforcements had arrived.
Isn't that your... No. What's your dynasty called, Erik?
Not this.
Not
What's
this.
your-
That's a horrible name.
My dynasty is the Nekhebet.
Oh,
this is the
that.
Inaros dynasty.
Oh, yeah.
You have the cranky old man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sitting on his own. You're making me mad.
Yeah. Let's
Sotek
talk
is the
about
main one then?
Sotek is Imhotep's.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Cesaricon is the main one.
Oh, okay.
Well, the main one, whatever. Let's go through it. Let's unpack it.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked a lot of it. It was way too human, but it read really
Yes.
nice. It felt really cool. Like, I just kept on imagining that this wasn't 40K and just like an Egyptian fairy tale type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with magics.
With magic.
Right?
Like,
yeah,
then it was
yeah.
perfect. Like, the whole nursing the leg and they feel pain.
The pain thing
but-
was a pretty big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, the way they move too is like almost too like they move too organic. Like he's rolling. I don't imagine
Yeah.
Necron
No?
being like
I don't know.
maybe some of the like
He is a pharaoh.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
I more think like they don't care. Like they're like these metal, like pharaohs. They can regenerate. Like they get shot, their arm falls off. They laugh it off as it rebuilds. You know.
I more view that as like a personal twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's,
Some might just literally walk
Yeah.
and just let things blow
Yeah.
them to bits as they regenerate and laugh in the face
Yeah.
of danger. Some like for some it might be a matter of pride, like
Yeah.
I'm never hit or anything. So,
I guess.
but I do definitely get that human feeling
Human.
from
Yes.
this when I read it. It's close. It's really close to capturing
close.
like a Necron, I think.
Yeah.
and every so often you'd read the main character's name and I'd be like, why is he saying
Raisin.
Okay, all I could hear in my own head was raisin.
Yeah, well,
I don't know how. Maybe it's not supposed to be pronounced that way.
Yeah,
but
well, Raisin and Karen. That's all. Every time you was like, "Oh, we've got a Karen in this room." But no, I enjoyed it too. Like, I liked the concept because there's at one point where he goes into the your Pharaoh's tomb. And he's like, "Oh, I just got to wake him up."
yeah, let's take a look at what was actually in there.
That's what got me. Like, I like the idea how he walks in there, and it's like
Bunch of pods, like five
so
pods.
5 stasis pods against one wall. Their inhabitants' heads ripped apart without the pods having any indication of damage.
Oh, so lictors, that's how they get their information is they I think they bore into your brain, and that's how they get like that's why they have the
feeders?
tentacles. Yeah, and so I bet you he
okay.
was trying to feed. I mean, and this is my
Well, he does talk about how you are not food,
Yeah.
so he clearly tried to eat them too.
yeah. So that's what I now that I see it, like I was like, oh yeah, like they have like the that's how they feed. So I was wondering if he was going from like, well, clearly I have no brains. Rip that one off. Oh, go to the next one. No, nothing in that one. Maybe the one that's in that golden one over there might have something.
I think part of it also was because he said that without the pods having any indication of damage. So I think he's also trying to show how smart the lictor is.
Yeah.
That it actually
unlocked
manipulated Necron technology.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, Necron tech is supposed to be pretty beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
But
Who
whatever.
knows? Maybe it is just a button on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Who knows? And the idea of this single golden stasis pod in the center,
Yeah.
interesting. I'm assuming, based on this, that this is supposed to be Cesaric's tomb? Because I don't get the Silent King reference. Because Cesaric never went to sleep.
I thought he called for the Silent King for backup or whatever.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that guy was just his Pharaon. He was just an overlord.
So Raisin is in this room. He
Yeah.
goes and sees this golden pod in the 5, and then
Yeah.
he sees this lictor, and this lictor's coming to attack him. He
Yeah.
touches the veil of darkness and
Yeah.
gets transported. And then he gets this voice in his head.
Yeah.
So the voice in his head says, "That is a very special item you have there, Overlord," or should I say Pharaon. And then Raisin answers back, "Oh, my king, what is going on?" So he
Yeah.
calls him a king, whatever this voice is.
I see why they call you silent.
Yeah, and so then the voice says, "There's little time. This is the veil of darkness. This is a lictor. You need to go prepare your people." And then Raisin once again says out loud, "My king, where are you?"
Yeah.
The king doesn't answer. And then Raisin says, "I see why they call you the Silent King."
Yeah.
So that seems pretty obvious to me that he's
Yeah.
actually referring to the Silent King. I just don't quite understand if that's supposed to be who was in the golden pod. Because
It can't be.
Cesaric...
Yeah.
I thought that at first too. When I was
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe he like has like a higher conscious essentially. Like he's on a different plane of consciousness. And I was like, then when you describe it that way, I was like, oh, maybe he is the Silent King. Maybe he's like omnipotent and just sitting out there in
Yeah.
like in the ether.
Like the
essentially.
pocket dimension, the Silent King could have that same pocket dimension, right?
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
So-
I have no idea how Necron
Yeah.
tech works.
That's
but,
the beautiful thing about Warhammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that he's not alluding to the fact that the Silent King was in stasis in this golden pod, because
Yeah.
it is very well known, documented fact that the Silent King did not go to sleep.
Yeah.
And he has just been traveling the galaxy
Yeah.
for 60 million years. It makes sense that he even knows about Tyranids.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to have encountered them in the void. So I like that. I'm curious what Erik was actually trying to say with this whole
Yeah,
golden
yeah.
stasis pod.
What were you trying to say?
Yeah.
Let me reach into the consciousness of all Eriks, and I will channel our energy. Yes, I lost it. I couldn't.
It happens sometimes. It's okay.
It was the wrong frequency.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
wrong Erik.
But I do think that there's a lot of really cool Necron moments in here, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and just even the way he describes some war gear and stuff, like, and like the whole ceremony of like his crowning and stuff.
Yep. I'm for it. I like the Karam. It's pretty, like the friendship between the two, greatest friend and ally. That's definitely something that you actually see a lot of in new Necron publications with the Infinite and the
okay.
Divine, which is really popular. And I haven't read yet, I will say that.
I haven't read it either.
But I'm going to, because it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I think that really gives a lot of people some insight into inter-Necron relations.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there's not a lot of Necron
Yeah.
stuff out there, but I think a lot of it people just assume, oh, like robots. But to actually write them with personality and character, like this Raisin has some, you know, so it's nice to see.
Well, that is good too, because like back in the day, you would have Chaos, and like you'd be like, oh, he's a Khorne Berserker. Okay, he's brain dead.
Right.
Or you'd have like Slanesh, like Noise Marines, or like just Thousand Suns or Emperor's Children,
and
and you'd
those
be
are
like,
kind of like one-dimensional.
yeah, you think they're one dimensional, but then you read about Lucius, and you're like, oh,
Exactly.
he's got a personality. Oh,
Yeah.
Khan the Betrayer, he's got a personality. He's just not like some brain dead kill count.
It's the difference between making a generalization about something and you make a generalization and say all Necron are robots. Well,
Yeah.
sure they are, but that doesn't describe how an individual might be.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was cool. I liked it.
It was
really well written. I really enjoyed the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm not 100% liking is the fact that, again, I mean, the first person did the same thing, Daniel, giving the Tyranid like a personality.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Well, you have no food in you. You're not gonna get away this time. I just think they'd be even more robotic than the Necron, because I'd just be like, oh, this thing is on a search and destroy mission, or like a search fact finding.
I've never heard of a lictor actually communicating.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either. But like
lictors, like they're always described as hyper intelligent, but I never once see that translate directly into, oh, now they can pierce your mind and talk with you. And another weird thing is that Necron and the warp doesn't really mix with psychic stuff. So trying to communicate, like, because the only psychic or like non-real power Tyranids have is like it's psychic energy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Really. And just it doesn't work with Necron very well. So
okay, I'm gonna throw this one out there. This is how I would have maybe changed it slightly to make it more in line with how he's written this. I'd maybe have Raisin get attacked, and like he's like, the lictor grabs him and goes like, because the tomb guard they're literally just robots essentially. They have very little personality.
It depends on, they may or they may not. It depends entirely on what their Pharaon allows.
Yeah. And I would have been like, oh yeah, so he walks in and gets ambushed, and the thing tries to suck his brain out, and that somehow they become maybe not psychic.
Sure, there's
but
a linking that happens in that moment when he's putting his feeders up into his like skull or something.
Yeah.
He touches one of like the electrical neurons, and some weird science magic happens.
magic science. Yeah.
Right,
and then like
and even if it's even just like a feeling, like you could. Yeah. It doesn't have to be actual words.
Yeah,
you say the exact same thing.
Trying to take something from me, and then he pushes off and stumbles and touches this cloak, and boom, gone.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's how I would have maybe done it a little bit differently, but like you said, it is very well written, and like the Lich Guard all slamming their sword.
Yeah, like that's a great moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be in perfect unison too, right? Yeah. I like him blinking after the falling lictor.
Yeah.
Okay, so when he's describing it, I'm picturing it obviously in my head, and you know that classic like, oh, the weapon is over there and both of them are staring at it and they run for it, like you know exactly how it's going to turn out. But this actually didn't. It tricked me about how like they jumped over the edge, and then I'm like, well, I guess he got away. And then he jumps after him, and he's like, I'm going to teleport right behind you. I thought it was a pretty cool moment.
It was cool.
It's an action movie. It's like an action scene from a movie, right? Like
for sure.
And then he's like above him, sword through the head. And then I
then
almost
bombs start dropping, American flags roll down.
Actually, I thought that was happening. I was like, oh, the Imperial Guard have showed up. They're bombing them? No.
Yeah, the bombs, I can only assume, so he said the ground shakes as two planes rush by and drop bombs. I can only assume that those are Necrons?
The flying croissants.
Yeah,
that's what I thought they were too.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't see that for some reason.
He describes them as crescent moon shapes after, but then he also says these are planes. And I'm like, I don't think Necron described their supersonic air like void ships as planes
that don't use propulsion. They use something completely different.
That have portal technology.
Yeah.
Mark and I have talked about how what does it take for a Necron to take out a planet? Like what does their invasion look like? A single plane. Because they can just use that to teleport their entire army to the ground. But I really liked this.
Nice. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for any Necrons. So.
Yeah, I know. This is what I like about people writing these books or writing these short stories, because like in my mind, that last scene where they're dropping the bombs, I'd just see them like they're coming swooping in, and because it's the Silent King, as he swoops in, suddenly like this hive guard or tyrant, whatever, is going to like slide this lowly little Necron, and he blinks out of existence and just into the ground, and then just this bomb falls on top of him. And just because you'd think like they see all other life forms as useless. I don't see them dropping bombs. I mean, they're not the Imperium of Man. Come on.
They have a little more respect for their soulless robotic followers.
Like I could see the Imperial Guard doing that. Because they always
Space Marines do it.
Yeah. Like I could see them being like, you're gonna try to gone,
Yeah.
blink, boop, 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 and then just bombs everywhere.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, then it wouldn't be very good. It wouldn't have the same feel to it.
Yeah, but I liked this. I also like that it was the Sotek dynasty that shows up and not the Caesarican dynasty.
Sure.
It only makes me more questioning of what the heck was in that golden stasis pod.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Give me some questions. And why do you call him the Silent King?
Yeah. I was reading through it, and it definitely really implies that.
It does.
The whole time.
It does.
Because even from the beginning, yeah. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's really heavily alluding to it, but I do think, Eric, you need to tell me what's going on. Because I don't think that's correct, but I think a couple changes, and you can have like a really, really solid.
A really cool story.
Yeah.
I'm also assuming this is your army. The Isaurian dynasty,
Yeah.
is that what he called it? Isaran?
Yeah.
Where was that? It was at the top, right? I should just
Sure.
scroll up and find it.
Okay.
Blah, 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 blah.
And the scavenger hunt begins.
Pharaoh of the Insarino dynasty. Finally, it's
Oh, there we go. Inaros.
Inaros.
Inaros, yes.
Dynasty.
If that is your, homebrew dynasty, I would love to see your model of Raisin and Karam.
Ooh, yeah.
If you could, maybe there's a lictor on his base or something. I don't know.
better be.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
have him like in a wheelchair because he didn't quite fix himself. So
Oh,
he's just like,
no.
the legs haven't fully repaired.
my glowing green dynasty.
Yeah. The whole like rolling thing is like many of those bodies are described as graceful and lithe and perfection, and while the lower ones might be like hunky girly, like worry,
Yeah.
the more the higher rank you get, the
Yeah.
more impressive your
Yeah.
body is, because they've abandoned flesh for perfection. And so I think their bodies are capable of
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff,
My reaction was more just like, it just didn't seem very Necron-y.
He shouldn't be doing it out of fear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Rolling out
So,
of the way, and there's like panic involved.
Pain and
like-
panic, those are things that I think
Yeah.
are pretty foreign.
Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty foreign to Space Marines too, when
Sure.
you have to write about them, which I think is hard because they're way closer to human than these are. But you give up a lot of human emotions when you're actually writing these alien species, obviously, right? Even Eldar. Writing anything alien is tough because we aren't aliens.
Yeah, you humanize them as best you can. And
Yeah.
Try not to humanize them too much, because at the end of the day,
You gotta kill the Xenos.
Gotta put them down.
That's right.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Magnus the Red. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, thank you,
Yep.
Daniel, for sharing your stories with us.
Yeah, they were great. Thank you. If you have stories, send them into lorehammerpodcast at gmail.com, or reach out on our Instagram or whatever, and we can shoot you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No, it was a pleasure to have you. I hope you had a good time.
I did.
Well, you have to say that because you're on the show.
Yeah, well, now you've got the gun pointed at.
Yeah,
right.
we have
Dropped
broken
it
free. It
and-
was 2 against 1.
Yeah, this is awkward now.
Well, thank you, everyone, our listeners, for joining us on this journey, and we'll see you all next week.
See you later.
Later days.